Hi everyone, this is Sean. I am headed over here to the range. Decided to take a quick break to make this video for you. We have about 20 people in the 832 PC class, which is basically an arrest and control firearms course. This is the minimum amount of training that you need in California to become a peace officer. There's still some occupations out there that will accept this minimal amount of training. So we have about 1/3 of the class are probation officers. The other half are students who are interested in a career in criminal justice law enforcement. So I'm on my way over there. I'm one of the instructors over there. I'm not the top instructor. I'm still a baby instructor. They have me on a coaching role. In order to be one of the lead instructors, or the one that's actually teaching the course, you have to have a lot of experience over here teaching. Basically, the minimum amount of time, the guys here that are actually teaching the course, the whole entire course, they have about 17, 18 years working over here, and I'm barely going on year number 2. So hopefully one day I'll get to that level. At my other job, I'm also a part of the range master staff. So exciting job to be in. I get to apply my experiences, my training, and apply this in a teaching role, and hopefully be able to transition what I know to my students, my recruits, and hopefully they'll be able to transition that skill set into the real world. Anyhow, I want to talk about auditory exclusion. And the reason why I'm talking about auditory exclusion is this is a normal response, a physiological response to a stressful encounter. If you're in a life and death situation, you can experience auditory exclusion. Now, there's been different studies. What we know is about 1/3 of those studied experience auditory exclusion. And what it basically is, it's an auditory exclusion. When you hear gunfire, it may not even sound like gunfire. It actually sounds, in a real life situation, when your heartbeat, when it goes to 170 beats per minute, 180 beats per minute, when it goes to that, because of an adrenaline rush or adrenaline pump, your body basically will shut down things that don't need to be working, and one of those things is hearing. It's not that important in the survival world to hear when you're fighting for your life. Now, I'm talking about hearing very clearly, because all that blood in a life and death situation, it gets dumped to your major muscle groups, your legs, your arms, your chest, because you're fighting for survival. You get the ability to perhaps run faster and fight a little bit better because all that blood is going to the major muscle groups. Now, what the void is a loss of hearing, and a gunshot might actually sound like a taser deployment. It might sound like little pops. If you ever go to range and you hear gunfire, you're shooting your gun or somebody else is shooting a gun, and you have hearing protection on, that muffled tone that you hear, or noise that you hear from the gunfire, that's the noise that you'll most likely be hearing in some type of lethal force encounter. Now, again, this only happens to about 30%, maybe 40% of those surveyed. It may or may not apply to you, but this is something real. I've had a lot of people in different classes. I've talked to a lot of different people. Some people hear this auditory exclusion, others don't. I talked to quite a bit of veterans, some of them military veterans. Some of them will hear the auditory exclusion, others won't. So it just depends. And in a way, it actually acts as a way to protect your hearing, which you might not even hear ringing in the ears. I heard a noteworthy instructor, I'm not going to mention his name, firearms instructor, just because I want to take one of his classes. I just think that his lecture on this topic is dysfunctional in a way. Not dysfunctional, but I just don't believe that it's practical. But basically he was saying that if you're in your house and you have a home invader, to protect your hearing, to do one of these. So you cover your left ear or whatever ear that you want protected, and then you kind of lean into this way, and then you fire your gun. That's to protect your hearing, and that will protect your hearing. But at that point in time, I'm not too sure that's important to change the position of your gun to save your hearing. I don't know. Okay. Those of you who have been in combat, I really want to know what your thoughts are on this, especially with a rifle. You're a rifleman. You slung, whether it be some type of M4, for you older folks, an M16, or maybe even RPG. Do you have auditory exclusion? Is this something that's valid? I want to hear from you guys. Okay. Now, what does this do for performance in a private security setting? If you're in a fight for your life, even a fist fight for your life in private security, you're not going to hear people say break it up or stop. You're not going to hear people say police or officers arrive on the scene. You probably won't even hear it. Again, auditory exclusion. It doesn't just exclude a gunfire noise. It excludes voices as well. You might not hear anything at all. Okay. Very important to know, this is how your body performs under extreme stress. If you don't know how your body's going to experience during extreme stress, you definitely need to research it. Read the books by Lieutenant Dave Grossman. He wrote a book called On Killing and On Combat. It talks about these physiological responses. If you know what these physiological responses are, you are going to better perform in a real life situation, because you're going to take the steps that you need in order to control your emotions. Let me know what your thoughts are. Looking forward to the dialogue. You guys all take care and be safe.